night, dripping wax and chalice black, conjured souls that won't turn back.
Welcome to the Brethren of the Morning Star. I'm your host, Magister Cankerworm. It is generally well known that diabolists are individualists, but are all forms of individualism equal? Are there boundaries where, if crossed, individualism becomes toxic and self-defeating? Are the concerns of the individual and the community always at odds, or are they interconnected? The case I would like to present today is that there are healthy and unhealthy forms of individualism, and that the diabolist should strive to embody the former while avoiding the latter. There is, in fact, such a thing as hyper-individualism, wherein the elixir of self-interest becomes a poison of isolation and solipsism. In order that we may better understand the type of individualism devil worshippers ought to pursue, let us first lay out the traps that can cause autonomy to go wrong. A hyper-individualist is a narcissist. They have an exaggerated sense of accomplishment and purpose which does not align with reality. They view others as objects rather than subjects with their own dreams, destinies, and desires. To put it in astronomical terms, the narcissist believes themselves to be the black hole around which the galaxy revolves. In fact, they are more like a sinkhole in one's backyard, fit only to throw waste and broken appliances into. Because of this false pride, the hyper-individualist pursues their goals with no consideration for the harm their actions may cause others. These personality traits are self-defeating in the long run. First, because denial of the truth always comes with a cost, and is arguably the greatest satanic sin, that manifest as failures in business, academics, and personal pursuits. Narcissism also makes long-term, healthy relationships nearly impossible. People generally do not enjoy being treated like objects, and rightfully expect a degree of reciprocity in their relationships. Because the hyper-individualist can only take, they are quickly cast aside once who they truly are becomes apparent. A hyper-individualist seeks to dominate others. This need to abuse power can have different roots. Sometimes it rises from the narcissism discussed earlier, but it can also be a result of sadistic and destructive tendencies. The desire to control individuals and destroy them are not that far removed, as control is merely one of the means by which the autonomy of others can be terminated. Fear is another source of this type of behavior. When the hyper-individualist, wrongly, believes others are seeking to rob them of their own self-sovereignty, they pursue domination as a preemptive means of defense. Whatever the cause, domineering behaviors enchain rather than liberate the diabolist, because they make the locus of their decision-making what others might do, rather than what they personally feel led to do. A hyper-individualist is more concerned with being different from others, rather than being themselves. Perhaps you have known someone who loses interest in a band or hobby once its popularity becomes mainstream. This is an example of the type of person referred to here, whose primary motivation in how they present themselves is not in actualizing some internal quality, but solely in distinguishing themselves from others. Out of a fear of being perceived as normal, or worse, realizing for themselves that they are just that, this type of hyper-individualist always presents a curated image of uniqueness. Their pseudo-individuality is an act, a costume, designed to conceal their insecurities of normalcy. But they are as enchained by the fads and popular fashion as the crowds they claim to despise. They are sheep, parading in wolves' clothing. A hyper-individualist isolates themselves out of a fear of vulnerability. Where the domineering type seeks to rob others of their autonomy, the avoidant type evades social entanglements out of a lack of faith in their ability to protect their own. The world-rejecting religious monk, the spinster shut-in, the terminally online incel, these are all examples of this type. While it may seem paradoxical, the tyrant and the hermit have much in common. Both are incapable of functioning in an environment where they do not possess 100% control. The primary difference is their means in establishing that control. Perhaps they were hurt by life in the past. Or perhaps their efforts at overt domination have failed, and so they have opted to remove external challenges from their life entirely. Whatever the reason, the isolated hyper-individualist seeks to shut themselves off from the world. This type is criticized directly in the satanic psalm Ein Festeberg ist Untergat from the Book of Infernal Prayer. Quote, "A minister of my kingdom grew weary of the vagaries of fate, and so he built himself a monumental tower of dead stone, a fortress to separate himself from the instability of life. From atop his prison, he watched the flux of the world below, thinking smugly, 'Never again will I feel the sting of love's loss, the pain of defeat, or the agony of fortune's wheel grinding against me.' And so he sat motionless and sterile, letting the desires within himself pass like clouds, until all that was left was an empty, vacuous sky. Encase yourself in stone, my disciple. Lift yourself to airy heights. It matters little to me. No harbor is safe forever, and hell's agents are of no use if they are not moving amidst the filth and the glory of the world. A storm approaches, interrupting his navel-gazing with the rumbling promise of liberation. He is right to feel the first thrilling rush of panic. Jehovah may bide his time with the closing of doors and the opening of windows. The devil comes to blast the house to pieces." End quote. Finally, a hyper-individualist has a static identity. We should be careful here to establish that there is a difference between having an ego that is stable and one that is stuck. Reality is ever-changing, and if we are authentically engaging in life, we will adapt and change right along with it. The person who we were 20 years ago should not be who we are now, because we have had 2 decades of learning and living to help us grow and mature in the meantime. The 40-year-old hyper-individualist who dresses, thinks, and behaves the same way they did when they were 20 is a stunted individual, not a realized one. We see this behavior often manifest in abuse victims because their emotional development becomes fixed at the age in which they experience trauma. This is an understandable tragedy, but nevertheless one we should encourage those whom we care about to overcome. Seek then true individuality, my brethren. That is, an individuality that knows it is an interconnected part of a larger whole, that welcomes growth, for to do otherwise is to deny life, that extends an opportunity of self-sovereignty to others with an open hand, neither forcing it upon them nor tearing it away. An individuality that matches the character of our Lord and Lady, facing challenges bravely, delighting in difference, and seeking the truth of who they truly are. Until next time, infernal blessings.
Ancient sigils in the ground, whispered chants, a haunting sound, echoes from the ages past. Blood and bone, the die is cast, through the pines away.